Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I'm going to share with you about PTE test, Pearson Test of English Academic, as I remember. It is an English test that you can use to prove your English ability, and it is accepted as equally as IELTS by all Australian universities, as well as professional association and state department governments. And I don't think it's only just Australia. I think it is accepted by almost every country nowadays. Look, I'm not a PT trainer. I'm not from any PT organization or centers doing any advertisement. I'm genuinely just a PT learner who took the test not long ago and luckily got 90 overall on my first attempt. And I would like to share with you guys some tips and tricks to help you get through the challenging English test. I'll try to squeeze everything in just this one video, so it's gonna be quite long, I suppose. I apologize in advance. Now, let's get started, shall we? So the first thing you need to know about this PTE academic test is that it is entirely computer-based, which means you will do the test entirely on a computer. The test will assess the 4 skills of speaking, listening, reading, and writing, just like IELTS. But in this video, I'm not gonna go into like detailed format of this test. I'm just gonna give you guys some tips and tricks on how to do each section correctly and how to get a high score on each sections of the test. If you guys want me to make a video about its format, like how the test look like, how is it scored, how is it assessed, how each sections look like, how each part look like, you can give me a comment below and I'll make it in the near future. But I'm sure you can find tons of them on the internet, like on YouTube or Google it. Today it's just gonna about my tips and tricks, how I do the PTE test and how I get 90 overall on my first attempt. Now let's go to the first part, speaking. In this speaking test, we have read aloud, repeat sentence, describe image, retell lecture, and answer short questions. First, I'm gonna go to read aloud. Okay, I'll start. As you can see, in this part, you will have a text that you must read aloud. You have 40 seconds to prepare it, and after this 40 seconds, you must read this text aloud as naturally and clearly as possible. This is the timer of preparation time. So what I like to do in this 40 seconds is to read through the text one time to see if there's any difficult or uncommon words. Then I'll go back and read through those words one more time to assure these words won't disrupt my fluency later. For example, domestication is an evolutionary rather than a political development. They were more likely to survive and prosper in an alliance with humans than on their own. Humans provided the animal with food, protection, in exchange for which the animals provided the human their milk and eggs and flesh. Alliance, evolutionary, domestication. So these are the words that I think might disrupt my fluency later in my speaking. So I'm gonna like read through it again and again. Domestication, evolutionary, alliance. Domestication, evolutionary, alliance. Because fluency is extremely important in this part. So you have to be very careful on those difficult words. I'll show you how it is scored. In this part, they will assess you through content, pronunciation, and fluency. So there's 3 criteria that you need to focus on. So what can you do to get a high score on each of these criteria? With pronunciation, I'll go pronunciation because it's the speaking test and the read aloud. So pronunciation is very important. With pronunciation, you have to assure that you read it with correct pronunciation, of course. Ensure that you read any words, every word with enough vowels. Vowels is important because you are doing it with a computer. So the computer will recognize whether it is correct or not based on the vowels and the accents and the stress that you press on the word. So with the pronunciation, I'll just make sure that I read each and every single word with correct pronunciation, enough vowels, and correct word stress. And with content, apart from those difficult and uncommon words that I already spoke about, I try to notice on plurals, s, es, and past tense such as ed, if it has any. So yeah, with the content, remember difficult and uncommon words, plurals, past tense, and some of the weak words, some of the swear words like on, for, to. Okay, so try to make sure that you will read each and every single word in the text. Okay. Finally, fluency. Fluency, in my opinion, is considered as one of the most important criteria in the speaking test, especially in read aloud. In order to get higher score in fluency, my advice is for you to try to read through this text with a long sentence without disrupting your breath. As you see, this is a quite short text, so you might just need like 2 whole of breath. Don't use short breath. Okay, how do I say this? But, before you read it, take a long, deep breath and read as long a sentence as possible. Don't read like this. Domestication is an evolutionary rather than a political development. I know there is comma there, but don't stop here, okay? Even don't stop here as well. If you have enough breath to like keep going with your sentence, you can stop here. Like, domestication is an evolutionary rather than a political development. They were more likely to survive and prosper in an alliance with humans than on their own. That's where you end one breath, okay? And then you take another long, deep breath and then start another one to finish. Humans provided the animal with food and protection in exchange for which the animals provided humans with their milk and eggs and their flesh. No, I know it's not like fluent, but you know what I mean, okay? Don't break your sentence into many, many little broken pieces. So now let's do this one again. 40 seconds, I'll read through it. This is an example of how I do it. Domestication is an evolutionary rather than a political development. They were more likely to survive and prosper in an alliance with humans than on their own. Humans provided the animals with food and protection in exchange for which the animals provided the humans their milk and eggs and their flesh. Domestication, evolutionary, alliance, domestication. Domestication is an evolutionary rather than a political development. They were more likely to survive and prosper in an alliance with humans than on their own. Humans provided the animals with food and protection in exchange for which the animals provided the humans their milk and eggs and their flesh. So that's how I do it. Let's see, I got it. So I got the content 4/5. So it means I missed some of the words. I got pronunciation 4.7/5, which is pretty good. Fluency 4.4/5, which is pretty good. So I got total 13.1/15, so which is pretty good as well. So if you want to get like 79 plus, this is probably what you need to target to. All right, so that's how you do a read aloud part in the speaking test. Okay, now let's move on to the next part. Repeat sentence. Well, I have to admit that repeat sentence was the most challenging part to me, as I have a terribly bad short memory. I'll show you how this part looked like. Begin in 3 seconds.
I'm glad that you got it.
And then you have to record. You have to repeat the sentence. So basically, you will hear a sentence, and after just 2 or 3 seconds of preparation, you need to repeat the sentence exactly as you hear it. It said 3 seconds, but I honestly didn't feel like 3 seconds at all. you will not have enough time to think, analyze, or even read or take notes. So basically, you just have to like repeat straight away after you hear the audio. That was a challenging part. So consider how it is scored. We have content 3 points, pronunciation 5 points, and fluency 5 points. So from here, I know that I need to focus more on pronunciation and fluency rather than content. So because there's not going to be enough time for me to take note or to think or to analyze anything before I read it. So when I took the PTE test, I found that the best strategy was to close my eyes and focus completely on the audio. I concluded that there will be 2 situations happened. The first situation is the sentence was easy to understand. So in this case, I tried chunking words together as I listen. What you need to do is group words together rather than processing them individually. So I'm going to do one example.
If you need help, I can give you a hand in finding a flat.
If you need help, I can give you a hand in finding a flat. So I'm still missing 1 or 2 words, but do you know what I mean? So if this sentence, this is an easy to understand sentence, and if I can understand it easily, I'll try to like remember it by chunks. So if you need help, I can give you a hand in finding a flat. I'm not gonna try like to remember each and every single word individually in the whole sentence. I'll try to divide it into chunks to remember it easily and to recover it easily as well. So all I need to do is try to remember 3 chunks. If you need help, I can give you a hand in finding a flat. Okay, so when I read it over, all I need to do is try to remember that 3 chunks again and repeat it. So the second situation is the sentence is long and contain many difficult and uncommon words. In this case, what I do is I'll have to sacrifice the content to focus more on the pronunciation and fluency. I need to accept the fact that I cannot repeat each and every single word correctly in a long and difficult sentence. So I will have to sacrifice the content part and focus more on the pronunciation and fluency. So what I'll do is I'll skip those difficult words, focus on what I can hear, and repeat them correctly and fluently. For example,
he looks as if he buys all his clothes from Goodwill.
He buys all his clothes from Goodwill. So you see, I will not repeat every single word. So even though this is not quite a difficult one, but all I can hear clearly is he buys his clothes from Goodwill. And I repeat it, buy all his clothes from Goodwill. So I missed he looks as if he, because I wasn't sure. I got content 2 out of 3. So even I try to repeat the whole sentence correctly, each and every single word, wasn't sure that I'm gonna get like 3 out of 3 because of my pronunciation of this and then because of fluency and everything else. So I rather sacrifice this part to buy my fluency 5 out of 5. What really important about this part is for you to remember, do not include any in the recording. If you can't hear any difficult and uncommon words, that's okay, just skip it. If you could try to mimic the rhythm and accent of the speaker, it really helps too. Try to speak fluently even what you speak doesn't even make sense. Remember, you are speaking to a computer and it's only catch on content, pronunciation, and fluency. It doesn't need to make sense. The more you can repeat it, the more content points you get, the more correctly you speak, the more point pronunciation you get. And the more fluent you speak, the more fluency point you get. That's what the computer is based on scoring you. Believe it or not, in my test, I didn't do any of the repeat sentence 100% correct. But thanks to this technique, I still get 90 for my speaking in my results, which quite surprising. But when I realized these techniques really helped, I think I need to share that with you guys. So that's how I do my repeat sentence, guys. Not perfectly, not 100% perfect, but you need to get trick and tips to get through this. Okay, now let's move on to the next part, which is describe image. So this is how described image look like. You are required to describe the important information in a graph, a chart, a table, a map, or a process in under 40 seconds. And you are given 25 seconds to prepare. So this is a timer for preparation. You have 40 seconds to record. Do you feel familiar with this? I know it's kind of look like IELTS writing part 1, right? But in PTE, you need to speak it out loud. There's a table. Because you are doing the test with a computer, so it will be very important to know how this part is mapped so that we can focus on those. Let's see. So like other part of the speaking test, we'll focus on content, pronunciation, and fluency. So with the content, we need to make sure to include, if not all, as many keywords as possible, which means anything that's shown in the picture, anything, literally anything, you need to read them out. As many as possible within that 40 seconds. There's another thing that can help you with content, which is template. I'll show you that later. So same with pronunciation. Correct pronunciation is very important. And fluency, you need to avoid and try to continue speaking for at least 35 to 39 seconds. So like almost this is over. Finally, what will determine the win in this part is template. The template will help you to ensure both content, pronunciation, and fluency. With content, template will help you to ensure the grammar, the structure, even the vocabulary. With fluency, template will help you to continue, always have something to speak so that you can ensure that you can continuously speak for almost 40 seconds. With pronunciation, as long as you practice a lot at home, I'm sure that your pronunciation point will improve pretty much just based on this template. So now I will show you how my template will look like, recommended by PTE Magic. But yeah, this is the template that I've been practicing and been used in my actual test and get 90 for my speaking. So let's see what this template look like and how it is applied in this test. So this is my note for my described image, and this is a template that I've been using to study. And I'm sure that if you practice this template fluently enough, you'll get 90 as I did, easily. So I'll explain this template. This is the introduction. The picture is about plus the name, or to be exact, the title. Okay, so this is the title of this, percentage of population in urban areas. So what I say in the introduction is, the picture is about percentage of population in urban areas. Easy, right? So that's number one, the sentence number one. Sentence number two is supporting idea for the topic sentence. It also presents many important information such as 2 or 3 keywords. Okay, so it also presents many important information such as, and then you list 2 or 3 keywords on the picture. As I say, any keywords would count because you are doing it with the computer, so it doesn't need to make sense. The computer only recognizes keyword that's shown in the picture. So as long as you are reading the keywords that's shown in the picture, you're fine. So any keywords could count. You can say 90, 50, 2007, 20, 30, or even the world, the Africa, Asia, anything. But just pick 2 or 3. So I'll choose 1950, 2007, 2030 for my sentence number 2. Okay, so 1, 2, it will be, the picture is about percentage of population in urban areas. It also presents many important information such as 1950, 2007, and 2030. Done. Easy, right? With template, everything sounds really easy. Number 3, according to the picture, the maximum is, okay, so very important to include maximum, minimum within the graph or the bar chart. If in the process, then maybe the first step, the second step, but it doesn't matter. You can use this template for any type of picture. That's the good part. You can just learn one template and apply for every picture, every type of picture. Okay, number 3, according to the picture, the maximum is, and then you add a number here or name here, which can be seen at a number here or name here. It doesn't need to be correct, okay? This is the maximum, but you also can use this or anything in this, okay, as long as it's included in the picture. So I say, according to the picture, the maximum is North America, which can be seen at 87. Done. That's it. Or according to the big picture, the maximum is Asia, which can be seen at 41. Doesn't matter. Just make sure that you read the template and then you read whatever that's shown in the picture. Okay. Number 4, in contrast, the minimum is. So we have the maximum and then we have the minimum. And same is which can be seen at. And same, anything that's shown in the picture is fine. All right. And finally, conclusion. Therefore, after analyzing the picture, we should pay more attention to. Therefore, after analyzing the picture, we should pay more attention to. And this is when you include other keywords. Other keywords. Or as I say, the rest of the keywords. So anything that left in this picture that you haven't spoken, that you haven't read out loud, you speak it now. You will add it to here. Oh. Let's see how I do it slowly with this. Have a look at the template again. So there's 5 sentences, yeah? 5 sentences. I'll do it slowly with this one. Ready? Number 1, the picture is about percentage of population in urban areas. Number 2, it also presents many important information such as 1950, 2007, and 2030. Number 3, according to the picture, the maximum is North America, which can be seen at 87. Number 4, in contrast, the minimum is 15, which can be seen at Africa. And finally, therefore, after analyzing the picture, we should pay more attention to World, Africa, Asia, Europe, Latin America, North America, 79, 64, 84, 74, 42, Europe, percentage of population in urban areas, 54, 41, 17, 51, 37, 50. Keep reading the keywords until this timer reach about 35 to 36 seconds. And then you say, and further information should be taken into consideration. That's it, to finish your speaking. You understand what I mean? All right, let's do that a bit quicker within 40 seconds, shall we? Okay, now let's do this. We have 20. In this 25 seconds, make sure you prepare every information you needed to fill the template. Okay, the picture is about this. Also present many information about this. Maximum is this, which can be shown at this. Minimum is this, which can be shown at this. Just choose. Okay. The picture is about percentage of population in urban areas. It also presents many important information such as 1950, 2007, and 2030. According to the picture, the maximum is North America, which can be seen at 87. In contrast, the minimum is Asia, which can be seen at 17. Therefore, after analyzing the picture, we should pay more attention to World, Africa, Asia, Europe, Latin America, North America, 79, 64, 84, 76, 42, 78, 72, 51, Africa, Asia, Europe, Latin America, and further information should be taken into consideration. Done. And then press next. So that's how you do this test. I'm gonna finish here because we have so much to cover, but if you want me to make more example on this described image, just comment below. Okay, now let's move to Retell Lecture. So I'll show you how this
Can we
looks
never
like.
get to absolute zero?
I'm just gonna...
What a wonderful question. I wish I had a wonderful answer.
Okay. In this part, Retell Lecture, you will hear an interview or lecture. After listening to it in 10 seconds, you need to speak in the microphone and retell what you just heard from the lecture in your own words. Sounds pretty hard, right? And it was actually pretty hard to me because I'm very bad at note taking. For me, it's easier to type, but if it's involved in a pen and note taking on paper, I'm pretty bad because I can't even read my handwriting sometimes. Because as soon as the audio is finished, you only have 10 seconds to prepare your note, and then you have 40 seconds to speak like straight away. Okay, so whatever you speak will just based on your note only. So it is very important for you to take note while you're listening. Okay, there's two types of note taking, which is keywords and ideas. Of course, if you can take note ideas, you have more information to speak. But if you cannot hear everything, you cannot hear the ideas or the whole sentence, you can just take note keywords and then you add template to it. Yes, there will be template to help you with your fluencies and just in case you cannot hear as many ideas as you can. So the template in this case will help you to ensure that you have something to speak for 40 seconds. But because it's also score you on content, pronunciation, and fluency as all of the speaking tests has been scoring you. All right? So it's very important to take note. And this needs practice. I only practiced like 2 or 3 times and I regretted it. If only I practiced more, then I could have get like more. Even though I got 90 already, but I still can get more if I practice more at home. So yeah, with this part, it's very important to listen to the audio, to practice listening and take note as many ideas, as many keywords as you can. That's it. Now I'm going to do an example and then we're going to see how it goes. Before, I'm going to show you how that template will look like. The template is this is a template that I invented. I'm not following magic template because it's quite confusing. It's not confusing, but it's quite complicated for me to remember. So I just use the template that I use for describe image. Here, I'll show you what I note. This is my template. Easier template, I named that. So I have the introduction. The introduction, the main topic of the lecture is that if I can hear ideas, I'll add ideas. If I can hear only words, which mean keywords, I will use about. The main topic of the lecture is about something. The main topic of the lecture is that with ideas. Okay, and remember, ideas always better than keywords, of course, because it has more information and then it keeps you speaking for longer pace, so it added fluency to your speaking as well. The body, according to the lecture, it can be said that, and then you add everything you can take note, everything you can note down on here. Okay, after that, therefore, after analyzing the picture, we should pay more attention too. So you see if the familiar here is absolutely, it's exactly like describe image. Okay, so whatever keywords that left in your note, or even when you already finished reading all of the notes that you noted down, you can read them again by using this template. Therefore, after analyzing the lecture, we should pay more attention too, and then you speak again because the time isn't up, right? You have 40 seconds. During that time, you can just like repeat and add, and further information should be taken into consideration. Okay, now let's see how I'm do it. Do one, I'll take note and we see.
It's hard to make a robot complete a task that seems extremely simple for a human. For example, it is very easy for us to see a person, but it's very hard for a robot. A robot has a camera on it to capture pixels, and then the robot will transform the pixels into an image, which is not as easy as it sounds like. In a word, it is not easy to design a robot to do tasks that are simple to humans.
So So this is how I can take note. I know my note taking is pretty bad. So what I do is I'll divide this into 3 parts. Yeah, there's not much here, but yeah, the robot will be the main, and it's hard for robot to complete a task, I think. So you see how I did it? It's very bad, right? So it is very important for you to practice. I'm not good at this, honestly, but what helped me is that my speaking, so I can speak. I can keep speaking for 40 seconds and I can read your note. I just read it over and over again. So let's see how I do it. The main topic of the lecture is, according to the lecture, it can be said that, therefore, after analyzing the picture. Okay, I'm going to use this template and read this one. The main topic of the lecture is about robot. According to the lecture, it can be said that it is hard for robot to complete a task, even if it is extremely easy for human. It is also believed that it is easy for us to see a person, but it is very hard for robot. Therefore, after analyzing the lecture, we should pay more attention to the fact that it is not easy to design a robot to do tasks that are simple to humans, and it's also as hard for robot to complete a task extremely easy for human, and it's easy for us to see a person, but it's hard for robot. And further information should be taken into consideration. Done. Okay, so you see what I'm doing? Because I don't have a lot of information on my notes, so what I do is I read through once based on template and I repeat it one more time. I repeat the keywords, the robot, the complete the task, easy, hard, human, person. So whatever keywords that I think it is important, I will include it again and again until the time is up. Because it's very important for you to keep speaking for 40 seconds. What important here, so remember again, what important in this part is note taking, and then keep speaking for 40 seconds. Keep speaking to ensure your fluency. Okay, so that's how you do this.